Sarah.
And I'm Keaton.
I'm Devin.
And I'm Lauren.
And this is our poli-sci video.
Obviously, social media does play a big part in politics, especially now. All my social media platforms were full of ads, and it wasn't even particularly presidential ones. It was a lot of like the lower scales, like the House representatives people, the Senate. One big thing this year that really stood out to me was the amount of celebrities that were endorsing certain candidates. So for me, all of the celebrities that I follow, it was Instagram, Twitter, they all supported Biden. And all of their stuff was like, vote blue. They were very, very clear on who they wanted to be the president. They were very clear telling people, vote blue, pick the better choice. I mean, like, they were very, very open about who they were voting for and very open about who they think you should vote for. Another huge thing that I think social media helped this year with the election was getting a lot more people to vote than normal. I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure this is like the biggest voter turnout in history. This year there was a lot of promoting for voting. And so I know on TikTok, Charli D'Amelio, 98 million followers on TikTok, she had posted this TikTok.
Today is November 3rd, which means it's the last day that you can cast your vote for the 2020 election, and although I might not be of age to vote for this year, I do know how truly important it is. So please, if you are of age, do your research, know your voting rights, and go vote. Today,
and basically she was saying, even though I'm not old enough to vote, please get out and vote. David Dobrik also did a huge campaign for voting, and I'll insert like the picture right here.
Platform to spread positivity. It's always fun. You did something incredible recently. You partnered with Headcount, and you single-handedly helped get 120,000 people registered to vote. What inspired you to do this? How did you pull this off? It's amazing.
Yeah, that was crazy. I don't know. Well, I'm a DACA kid myself, so I can't vote. So I thought it would be the best. Yeah. So I need all the help I can get from people going out and voting on my behalf. So I thought maybe I can use that to my advantage and be like, hey guys, please, for the love of God, go out there and help me stay in this country by voting. And it worked out. I don't know if that's because they wanted to help me out or because they wanted a free car because I was giving away Teslas as an incentive. But regardless, I'm really glad with the turnout.
The founder of Headcount called what you did absolutely unprecedented, and Headcount has registered 1 million voters in its lifetime, and you are responsible for over 10% of that.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Congrats, buddy. You should be very proud of that. That's really cool.
Thank you so much.
He gave away 5 Teslas to people who registered to vote. So obviously you had to be over 18. And he got over 100,000 people to vote for giving away those cars. And a lot of people, David Dobrik is very, very popular right now. He gives cars away like candy. So he's not even able to vote, but he had gotten 100,000 people to vote. And that's social media. He's an influencer and he got people to vote. I also think it was more and more common this year for people to not brag about voting, but they flexed that they voted. Like after they voted, they did the I voted sticker. They like posted everywhere. They said, get out and vote. And I think they made it really important. And it was for me, I was like, oh, I wish I was involved with the voting process. I wish that I was old enough to vote. Another thing that I think has a lot to do with social media in the voting process is candidates or different parties tweeting back and forth with each other. Not back and forth, but just tweeting in general.
This is Donald Trump's Twitter, and I'm just going to be scrolling up. So this is literally from 2 days ago, and this is how many things that he has tweeted or retweeted just from 2 days ago, and none of them are positive.
For example, obviously Donald Trump. Not great on Twitter. He does not look like a great person. No matter if you love him, if you hate him, he doesn't look like a good person on Twitter, and he tweets stupid things. I think personally that they should take away his Twitter, because why does the president of the United States need to like be tweeting all the time? Another thing, Kanye Again, I don't know how big of... He didn't have a chance, obviously, to win the whole thing. But he could have had more voters, but then one night he just went on a crazy rampage and he just tweeted all these things. And I think that certainly didn't help him.
So the uses of social media in politics, there are a bunch. We'll talk about a couple specifically with the 2020 election further in the video, and those uses are getting younger voters involved, fake news, and ads. But in general, social media is used to connect to a broader audience. Since a bunch of people have social media now, you can connect with different people, and it's just like a broader demographic that you can reach. Not only that, like I talked about, ads, connecting with the politicians and the actual voters. Not all of the uses are positive though. There are some negatives. With social media use in politics, it does allow for fake news, bias, a lot of media bias, whichever party you favor, or like your feed will be, oh, if you're a liberal, it'll just be a bunch of like Democratic stuff, or if you're more conservative, it'll just be like Republican stuff on your feed, and you kind of don't see the other side of the story. And also, the use of social media kind of plays in with the potential for hacking, and I know that was a big thing in the 2016 election, but it does have a big effect on politics.
When scrolling through your social media, it is really important to be on the lookout for fake news. You never know when somebody might post a picture or an article that is just not true. After all, it is fake news, and they do try to blow stuff up unproportionally. A situation that took place in Sonoma, California in September explains in an article written by sciencemag.org how somebody had posted a picture of a dumpster that was filled with supposed ballots that were just being thrown away. In reality, those ballots are actually just empty envelopes that are being recycled. So it is really important to make sure that when scrolling through posts and looking at different pictures, to take a deeper look into it and see things like where it came from, who published it, and what the article or picture or whatever it is really about.
Looking at the 2020 presidential election and the impact that social media had on it, I think arguably one of the biggest influences social media had on this election was the engagement of younger voters and giving them a platform to express and to share their political beliefs and their views on politics. PewResearch.org showed that 18 through 29-year-olds, 90% of them had at least one social media platform or used one social media app. With that being said, that same age range on Instagram, 18 through 29, made up 67% of all Instagram users. Social media allowed younger voters to get involved, and it made it a lot easier for voters in general to get involved and share the beliefs. It's not really hard to just tap retweet or to like a post or to comment on a post or to even make a TikTok on what you think. Even underage, or not underage voters, but people who couldn't vote, people who were 17, 16, 15, they all could get involved. They could share their opinions and try to influence other voters or just try and educate voters on what they think.
Social media platforms have had a major role in the past 2018 and 2020 election. By using these platforms, candidates from both sides can get their views across to a larger audience using Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and Facebook. It is estimated that almost $14 billion were spent in ad revenue on the 2020 election alone between the two parties. This resulted in the projected to be the highest voter turnout since 1908. 1908 was around 66%. We are already at 65% and projected to hit almost 67%, which would put it in the number one place.
I believe that social media will affect politics in the future by generating a higher rate of fake news and allowing people to be more susceptible to believing that fake news.
I believe social media will divide us more than unite. With constant tweets and posts, it can make different viewpoints altered, which will lead to opinions being more divided.
I think that social media in the future is going to continue to grow politics and voting in general. I think everyone saw how big of a turnout this year had because of social media. I also think that people are going to start getting very sick of seeing politics on social media, so that might have an effect in it. People might start deleting it. I know my dad personally, he deleted his Facebook because he was so sick of all of the politics that were involved. So he deleted his Facebook fully. I mean, he got rid of the whole thing. I don't know if he even has it back now that the election's over with. I bet you he'll still have it deleted for months after the election, just because there's still so many things on social media about the election. I think that social media will continue to be a platform for the candidates to express themselves, I guess, and what they want to happen in this country, and I think to help them promote. I think they're going to keep getting social media influencers or actresses or actors to endorse them. So example, this year Biden, I know Lady Gaga was like with him a couple times and posted a lot of things for him. I think that for people who stan Lady Gaga, they're like, wow, I'm gonna vote for Biden. I really think that that is something that people think of, and I think that in the future it's just gonna keep piling on, and when it comes to the 2024 election, everything's going to be on social media, and for those 3 months or so when they start pumping up political ads, that's all we're going to be seeing.
I think that social media will impact politics in the future by no longer having TV ads and just having ads on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc., maybe even on TikTok.
Now that you've heard our opinions, here are some guests to share theirs.
Well, so the last election and, the previous ones in 2016, there was a lot of misinformation on social media, right? And a lot of things that were coming out that obviously had, different countries' interests in mind, maybe specifically Russia, and and trying to get us to fight within each other is advantageous to them, but not advantageous to us, right? So that's part of why we want to crack down on, or why people are wanting to crack down on misinformation about social media. So we saw some of it with this election. I think that I primarily go on Twitter myself, but I know I've seen some, this is not true, or there's some misinformation or whatever that pops up. I think we're just going to keep seeing that more and more often because, the people in charge of Twitter, in charge of Instagram and Facebook, who are the same, right? They have been pushed to do that. And I think that they're just going to be pushed more and more to at least try and get some of the false information out, because that's not helpful for anyone. And like I said, what it ends up doing is it just makes everybody fight each other more than they need to.
Mm-hmm. How will social media affect politics in the future?
I think it'll have a big effect, as we saw this year with the election and everything. I think there's a lot of information, both true and false, that are passed on social media that will definitely have an impact on what people think and who they vote for and what they believe in.
All right, so how do I think social media will affect politics in the future? Well, what social media does is it reaches a broader audience. It also connects younger audiences. So I think, in the future, if you are able to use social media for your political base, you're going to connect with a broader, younger audience. And I think we saw this year how when you can stir up and rally people behind either party, what a difference it makes when you get the younger population involved. So social media will definitely play a role in the future.
Well, I think social media is going to play a big role in future politics because that's the primary medium of communication for this millennial generation and generations to follow. But I also feel concerned about it because I know that current generations don't necessarily question the validity of social media or who's posting from the other end. So the question of whether or not using the social media, that's for sure going to happen. The value or the level of trustworthiness of the social media is what really concerns me.
Thanks for watching.